Welcome back to The Biggest Talk. For all you viewers tuning in for the first time, we break down some of the most influential bestsellers of our generation and read them so you don't have to. We're your hosts,
Ira.
Sebastian.
and Harrison.
We're all back, baby.
That's right. Welcome back, Ira. Finally, things are calming down from the winter break holiday season, so we're,
So-
very happy to get everybody back together.
So
again.
let's get into it.
Yep, we're going to start off again with Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules of Life.
For life.
For life.
And for those of you who don't know, Jordan Peterson, he started off as a professor at the University of Toronto, and he kind of became a speaker in a sense through, not dealing with people and their kind of opinions about free speech, and he wasn't having it, so he kind of got invested in that, and then people started hearing about him, and now he's just a speaker and really just searching for the truth. And he gets criticized a lot, and I'm sure some of you have heard of his name, but we're just going to get right into this book and his 12 rules. So the first rule: stand up straight with your shoulders back.
Shoulders back. When you really take this rule just at surface value, you just think like, oh, posture, right?
Yeah.
Why is posture so important, though?
Because my mom tells me I have a slouched back.
There you go. When you go into a job interview, do you want to look like you're, weak or you're scared? Because I feel like people don't understand posture is so important. You really have to dress for success. Not only dressing for success, but to look the
Dress
part
your
that you want to
body,
be.
not even
right.
like with clothing, right?
Right.
Because it all comes down to the first impression, which is the one that sticks with people,
Mm-hmm. I mean, even if you're just walking down the street, I'm sure everyone watching or listening to this, we're all a little bit prejudiced inside, okay?
Yeah.
And just how you can physically appear can help you gain, things in either social status or even things at whatever goals you're working at, whether it be big or
Opportunities, right?
small. Right.
So I think there's another way to kind of approach this, right? It's not just how you appear outwardly, but to yourself and how you approach taking on the world and all the chaos in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot of things out of your control, but you have to be just willing to face that and expose your most vulnerable part, like the rule says.
And I think it's really important to define what chaos is. And what I've taken away from the book is that chaos is just things that you can't control. Like you said, it's just these random variables in your life that you might not have a hand in, or you might have a hand in, or you even yourself might be contributing to that chaos.
Yeah.
And it's all about reducing that amount and really honing in and focusing on what you can do as an individual to be the best warrior against that chaos.
And create order,
Right.
as much order in your life as you can, right?
Yeah, so it doesn't really need to be like something big, you can start off with something small. Like Sebastian was talking earlier too about how whether it's reading a page of a book or a whole book or just even a paragraph, you just got to push those boundaries of what you normally do.
When you're not a motivated person, right?
Yeah.
And you're always like, I'm struggling to be motivated. I'm struggling. Well, that's not really true, right? You're probably struggling to be super motivated where you want to be, but you're not taking the steps to get there, I think, right? Because ultimately you can take like super small steps and it'll be super easy, right? Let's say you want to read a book. You sit down a day, read a sentence a day. Anybody can do that. You can't be like, oh, I'm not motivated enough to read a sentence. You are. But it's just they want to read the whole book in a day.
Right. I mean, I think people just bite off a little bit more than they can chew.
And it holds them back.
Right, right. And then that failure of not setting the correct goals
Yep.
makes them feel inadequate for their own goals.
And this is where I kind of contradicts with the 10x rule, right? Where we
Yeah.
said set the goal 10 times, because I kind of didn't like that either, where it's like it could really make you demotivated to do that, right? Unless you're kind of in the mindset like it's going to be so far out of reach, you can't really see it.
Yeah, because with the 10x rule, he also talks about how you should have that 10x goal and nothing else. Don't settle for anything else. Don't make a plan B. But when it comes down to that, it really would still be advantageous to have like a plan B or something else to work yourself towards, at least if you can't reach that other one.
I don't know too much about the plan B, because then that's just that never motivates you to pursue. Like the most successful people are the people that literally are forced to take on a task, right? If you're broke and you have debt and you have a kid to provide for, you're gonna provide for them, right? Or they're gonna die. So it's like if you have a plan B where it's like you can get food stamps, then it's like you're not gonna be incentivized to make your life.
You know what? Looking at the 10x rule, I have realized that it's a great book when you're doing well.
Yeah.
in life. I think it's a great book. It has great ideas and examples for you. Like, shoot higher than the goals that you're already aiming at right now. But I found that it only really helps me when I'm doing good, when
Yeah.
I'm optimistic, and taking a step back and looking at Jordan Peterson's take on his 12 rules for life is that this book kind of is a little bit more consistent in terms of like reality.
Yeah.
And then I feel like he focuses a little bit more on securing those small gains
Victories, yeah.
rather than saying, hey, you gotta shoot above the stars just to hit the stars.
Yeah, and so few
Right.
people do that. So I think this is more foundational like principles than
Yeah.
the 10x rule really
I,
is.
I think this really gives you the confidence to really tackle a book like 10x. Maybe we read this in the wrong order.
Yeah.
Yeah, this book really more of sets up
A good foundation.
good
right?
foundation. Yeah, a good base for a person who wants to get into the 10x.
The 10x is just a little more motivating, I feel like, just to try and get you to push for more.
Yeah, personally, I mean, I love the 10X.
Yeah.
A couple of us, we're going to be attending the 10X Growth Con in
That's right.
Miami, Florida. See you guys there if you guys are coming as well. But I feel like I think that's where people ought to be in their mentality. I mean, I respect Jordan Peterson a lot for, caring about those who might not be in
The
that
masses,
mindset
right?
already, right? But I feel like in the 10X, that's where you ought to be in your thinking.
Yeah, for sure.
And if you haven't, or you guys don't know what 10X is, then you guys feel free to watch our previous
By Grant
videos.
Cardone.
Yeah.
Brother.
Now moving on. Rule number 2. Treat yourself like someone you are responsible for helping.
Yeah, he talks here about a story about how a lot of people can treat their dog, so great,
Yeah.
but they don't even treat themselves with that kind of respect or with that
Yeah.
kind of care.
I think that's perfect because you see dogs nowadays, they get their own purse or they get their own
Yeah.
strollers, right? Or man, I know from a personal example that someone marriage has been ruined by a dog because
Really?
one of the people in the marriage cares more about the dog than they do about the other person.
That's fucking crazy.
And I feel like that is completely ridiculous. Yeah.
Wow.
But really looking at the, I guess, rule, I think it's almost like, love thy neighbor as like yourself. You know? You really should treat other people how you want to be treated.
Yeah.
And you really need to take into account and be empathetic as to how they are feeling and how you are feeling at the same time.
Yeah,
as
he
well.
also talks later in the book about how when you want to get things done in your life, let's say you're not motivated, like we're talking about, you have to talk with your inner voice, right? You have to negotiate with yourself. He says that. You have to negotiate with yourself. And I think this is kind of how he's kind of segueing into that later. Like, you have to treat yourself as, and the other person inside of you, that you're responsible for helping, that you have to find that order, right? Instead of moving towards that chaos.
Yeah, and he also goes to mention how it's when he says treat yourself like someone you're responsible for helping, he doesn't mean like look at what you want or what would make you happy. He means look at something that would truly be good for you and benefit you.
Yeah, improve your
even
life.
if it's not something you'd really care to do in your free time.
You know what? I think something that's kind of cool reading this book is that he really gets politically incorrect.
Yeah.
And then he starts to almost teach people how to parent their children.
Oh, yeah.
And-
Later on, yeah.
In terms of just like what is okay and what's not okay. And he really puts his foot down on the things that he feels are really going awry in society.
Yeah, I think that's a great way he adds. I also really like how he adds a lot of biblical stories because they're so foundational and the principles that kind of arise through it that he elaborates on. Really speaks truth to all these principles and how logical they are, right? Like, we can all agree that these principles are pretty foundational and they're all rooted in this Christian faith,
Right.
So that was pretty interesting to me.
Whether or not you guys are of that religion, I mean, for me, just looking at the principles itself, looking at the Ten Commandments, like you really can't go wrong with everything that it says. Don't lie, don't steal. Don't
Yeah,
murder,
he also
right?
actually says something like in person, or in the book as well, pretty controversial, is that he says that people that are atheists aren't really atheists. Like, they believe in something, they just don't know what. Because their value system is all based on some religion. So they can't. He doesn't think that you can have a value system predicated on not believing in something greater.
Right,
So
definitely. I
That's
mean,
a pretty bold statement,
right. When you look at our government in America, we are built on Judeo-Christian values.
Yeah.
So, I mean, nowadays you kind of see that line being blurred.
Yeah.
And because when you have a core value system, you have morals, right? You're not ruled by the masses. Just because the majority says something is correct doesn't make it correct.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if we're all three of us are in a room and you have $100 and me and Ira don't have anything, and we say, "Hey, Sebastian, we agree to take your $100 and split it between us. Is that okay?"
Fuck.
No,
Guess
but,
so.
but you know, in today's society where majority tends to rule, that is becoming our reality.
No,
And I feel
normal,
like-
yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like he fights back against that, and that's what I appreciate the most.
That,
It's just
Yeah.
when you can read the book, you start to also read his character as a person.
Yeah. I've listened to so many of his videos too, and it's just amazing what that guy's doing.
Yeah.
But let's move on here to make friends with people who want the best for you. And he goes on in the beginning to talk about stories about his old friends and how their lives were just bad. They just went downhill. They went down the wrong road, and it was just full of chaos.
If you read this book and then you also look back at the other videos that we talk about, this is a key point in every successful person's
Your
story,
inner circle, right? Your inner circle, the mastermind, all the
Jordan
Right.
Peterson, Cardone,
John Maxwell.
John Maxwell,
Napoleon
they all
Hill.
talk about how you are who you surround yourself with. So if you surround yourself with shitty people, oh, my bad.
It's all good.
If you surround yourself with people who are bad and who will bring you down, you will go downwards.
Right,
You want to
definitely.
surround yourself with people who will uplift you. And then the thing I like with Mr. Peterson is how he also chose to make sure that not just that not only will they do what'll make you happy, but they also do what's necessary for you
Yeah.
too.
Right, definitely. I think
You
when
know?
you're able to speak into someone's life, regardless or not it's a positive or negative thing, and the other person has the, respect for you, that they know that you're talking to them because you love them, not because you're trying to dictate how they live. I think
Yeah.
that's a crucial trait to have in any relationship, whether it be romantic or, platonic.
And
Yeah, for sure.
don't get it wrong. You don't want just a bunch of yes men who will just support everything you do. You want real friends who will go with you through it, and then they'll make sure that you're thinking of the right things. Like whenever I have an idea, how I like to run it by you guys, and you guys help make sure I had the proper thinking process.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you really introduce it into people who truly care about you, you don't want to say that they're playing the devil's advocate, but they just want you to be prepared for anything
Exactly,
that is
yeah.
that's going to be thrown at you. Because I feel the same way. Whenever I have an idea, I think it's great. I mean, no one wants to think their own idea is stupid, right? But you don't want to have that idea and then put it in the public and then have the public ridicule you. I'd much rather have these two guys tell me I'm stupid.
Yeah, and you want it to be tested. That's the
Exactly.
point. You want it to be a good idea. Even if you think it is already, you can have it better always, right?
And I think one of the things that we have to focus on is just the different qualities of what makes a good friend. And I feel like in any relationship, even romantic, like jealousy is just one of the qualities that I can't have in my circle
Yeah.
of friends, because jealousy really, it's a really bitter, quality. And I really resent people who are like, oh, well, if he's not even a little bit jealous, like he doesn't love me, you know? And I feel like that's completely ridiculous. I think people can have complete security in their relationships, whether it be just a friend or a girlfriend or even your future spouse. I just feel like that trait is so like just unneeded.
There's a difference between jealousy and having people who are jealous surrounding you and having people who want to be in the same space as you, reach the same goals as you. I feel like that would be good, having someone who wants to reach the same goals as you. If you achieve something, because then you are inspiring them to go higher. And do
Yeah, I
their
mean, as
best.
long as you're boosting each other up, right?
Rather
Jealousy just is like
Yeah.
it's a door for a lot of
Yeah,
bad things,
freaking
Yeah.
hate that guy. Stupid.
And then you try and pull them down, right? You
Yeah.
try and
Right, because when you really look at these kind of characteristics, what is it rooted in? It's just insecurity.
oh yeah,
And I feel like you can't have insecurity in a relationship either. You can't be doubting yourself and then having it manifest and it attacking the people around you.
yeah. But relationships, man, they're full of silver lines, man. It's really hard to.
Yeah,
it's touchy
definitely. But
space.
It's a lot of gray areas.
Yeah, definitely.
there is a lot of gray areas, but I do think I stand firm in
No jealousy.
This part. Yeah, I mean, me and my girlfriend don't get jealous
Mm-hmm.
ever, because I know that I'm very much secure in what I can provide for her, and she's very much secure in what she can provide for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, one, I think if you're jealous, you're kind of killing yourself a little bit when you're so focused on what the other person's doing that you don't have that kind of security. I mean, two, also, what is the other person not? Maybe they're not providing for you.
Yeah.
And it's something that you learn within yourself in a relationship. It's might be just a miscommunication, right? But I know that jealousy for a fact is not healthy at all.
It definitely has to stem from some lack of communication, right?
Right.
You just, there's something that the other isn't providing for you that makes you insecure when something happens, right? That shouldn't even be a big deal, but it kind of, it makes you feel like it's a big deal. So we kind of segued to relationships, but that was good. I think we can close it off here.
Yeah,
Yep.
thank you all for tuning in. This is all the time that we have for today. But if you guys liked anything that you guys heard, please leave a like on the video and subscribe if you want to, just show your support. It really helps us, keep
Yep.
going.
We're here
And
every
if you
week.
guys, yeah, every week. And if you guys have anything else to add, maybe you disagree with my point on jealousy, please leave a comment in the comment sections below. Thank you so much.
Disagree.
See you guys next time. Let's go out and get this bread.